Well, friends, so today's agenda, what are we going to do in the class today? So the very crucial part, the DevOps law, very crucial and important part. And that is CI/CD activities, continuous integration and continuous delivery activities. And initially, I'll teach you the very basic one. CI/CD not with a very hectic approach. Initially, we restrict our CI/CD activities to the very base level.
Prashant, we can't see screen.
So the basic activities where I'm not bringing forth any testing, just make a deployment setla cheyali and releasing a product and outline just as a what's it, as an activity where we deal with multiple servers. So first, we know that we as a DevOps team, we work on the source code written by developers, right? We work on the source code written by developers. So let's say there's a team of developers, development team. What is their responsibility? To write code and develop an application. And what do? They write all their code, integrate all their code together and update that to some version controlling system, GitHub, right? And what do they upload here? Source code as well as build script. Right? So we find source code as well as build script updated by developers into GitHub. So push action. Now, what we do, we got to perform CI/CD activities on this project. So first, we configure Jenkins in such a way that Jenkins adapt the entire source code. A process number pull, Jenkins actually pulls the code, but we are saying it as a download, continuous download. Right? All the source code plus build script gets downloaded here. And currently, on the same Jenkins server, we are performing a build, installing Maven here. We are performing a software build artifact, meaning a build process happening here, which is number 2. After that, we got to deploy the artifact into testing servers, QA environment. Right? This is QA environment. This is, let's say, Jenkins. And now QA, we deploy the artifact into some application. Tomcat kernel, JBoss kernel, right? Based on the artifact type developed. So over here, in our case, we're going with Tomcat, right? So the third stage is to deploy the artifact into Tomcat. Now, what happens here is actually some automated test cases to run here on the artifact. Likewise, during this build process only, code quality happens with SonarQube. E process and bypass just that for now. Because let's get the essence of how to do things. Later, we'll complicate this with a SonarQube and so on. Right? So add the artifact to Tomcat QA environment. And even here, what happens is some automated test cases do run. But we do a manual approach, assuming some manual testing. They look into this artifact and perform some manual tests. If everything is fine, what should happen? The application should get released to production. But from where? QA nundi production ka, lekapothe Jenkins nundi production ka. Akkade tappu avutundi. We got to release the artifact from Jenkins server to production. Assume only when QA approves. QA approve chesaka artifact Jenkins to production. Until then, let's say if this artifact is not approved, then what happens? QA routes back to the development team. Not approved.
Right.
Not approved. Then QA routes back to the development, and developers got to rework on their source code. Developers got to rework on their source code on their local machines, and then push their code to GitHub. Again, that new version of code we got to download, perform a build, and deploy the artifact to QA. If everything is fine, ఎందుకు Jenkins to production అంటున్నాను అంటే, if and only if this artifact is valid, QA approves it. If this artifact is not valid, QA obviously QA don't approve it, right? So that is the reason. When QA is approving something, it means already that artifact is correct at Jenkins level 2, right? So that is the reason we have to release the application from Jenkins to production environment. If and only if the QA approves the product. Okay. So this is the approach we got to perform. And if the process అందరికి మనకి ఎన్ని servers కావాలండి? How many servers are required?
Single server.
Simulate చేయడానికి మనకి 3 servers కావాలి. Jenkins server, QA server, and production server. So we are doing a full-fledged activity today. Okay. So నిన్నటి వరకు మనం Jenkins server ఒకటి QA ఒకటి చూసాము. But today from scratch again, and installation మొత్తం అన్ని కూడా మళ్ళీ from scratch I'll show you. You have to follow up very carefully. అలాగే you have to implement this and practice it. Right? ఈ ప్రాసెస్ మీకు మీరు కనుక if you are able to finalize, if you are able to do on your own, rest of the activities అంటే ఈ ప్రాసెస్ లో ఇంకా అదర్ సోనార్ క్యూబ్ కానివ్వండి, ప్రీ ప్రొడక్షన్ కానీ ఏవి యాడ్ చేసినా కూడా you find it, you do them very simply, easy. Okay. But first we should get a complete overview on this. So let's do it, friends. I'm starting from scratch. Now 3 servers కావాలంటే what should we do? Infra create చేసుకోవాలి.
3 instance.
Infrastructure create చేయాలి అంటే what to do? There are better practices under DevOps law. What we say, infrastructure automation is one factor. Automate to the max. You can automate your infrastructure. How? Infrastructure automation. How we do? అంటే మనం ఇంకా నేర్చుకోలేదు అనుకోండి, Terraform as a script. You write some Terraform script, right? ఎన్ని సర్వర్స్ కావాలో, ఏ కాన్ఫిగరేషన్స్ కావాలి, ఏ పోర్ట్స్ ఓపెన్ అవ్వాలి, అంతా ఇక్కడ స్క్రిప్ట్ రాసి you run it and that infra gets created in the cloud. మీకు ఎన్ని సర్వర్స్ కావాలి, అన్ని సర్వర్స్ ఆటోమేటిక్గా క్రియేట్ అయిపోతాయి. Next, on the created servers, we want to perform configuration. Like ikkada Tomcat install avali, QA server, production server, Tomcat undali. On all these 3 servers, Java should be present. Right? Ikkada Java undali, over here Java, and here Java. On this server, we got to install Jenkins, Maven, right? Even all these activities you can do automate with which tool? Terraform infrastructure creation. Configurations ki manaki Ansible as it. You write a playbook. Like okay, Ansible playbook raster. And once you run Ansible playbook targeting this cluster, whatever the infrastructure is required for you, that infra gets created. కాకపోతే ఇది మనం ఏం చేస్తామంటే we'll see in our project. ఎందుకంటే ఇంకా Terraform నేర్చుకోలేదు, మనం ఇంకా Ansible నేర్చుకోలేదు. We don't know anything about these 2 things. And ఇంకా బెటర్ చేయడానికి మనం ఏంటంటే we can do all these once we learn Docker నేర్చుకున్న తర్వాత all these activities you can perform on one single server only. All the activities you can perform only on one single server. ఒక్క EC2 ఇన్స్టెన్స్ సరిపోతుంది మీకు dev environment, QA production setup చేయడం. With the help of containers, Jenkins as a container, Tomcat for QA as a container, Tomcat for production as a container, and you can perform all your CI/CD activities on one single server. Right? So itla okkoti unfold చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్ళాలి. Now let's go with servers only. At server level, let's perform CI/CD activities. So ఈ diagram అర్థం చేసుకోండి. Based on this, we keep going forward. Okay. So I'll document too. We'll document things as well so that it becomes easy for you. And మీరు practice చేయడానికి control L. Yeah. First, create 3 EC2 instances. 3 EC2 instances. And what should be common in 3 of them? Java apt get update చేయాలి first, right? Next, Java is required. And what else? Tomcat
is other server.
Only 2 servers. So these are common. These 2 are common. right? So now what we do, let's jump to our AWS account. In cloud formation, write a script, and with that we can automate infra. By the way, sessions getting recorded. I think sessions. Yeah, fine. So let me do one thing. Let's take a fresh region. కనిపిస్తుందండి
Shutting down.
Okay, fine, friends. All right. So let's go to other region, some other region. Session extend అయినా పర్లేదు కదా వాడ till 5. No problem, right?
Fine, Prashant.
Yeah. అవ్వట్లేదండి it's recording to the cloud అవుతుందండి it's happening recording to the cloud yeah. So launch instances. Let's find Ohio region లో మనకి do we have any servers here? Instances running లేదండి. This is a new region. Let's go select launch instances and name because I'll create 3 servers. Okay, so I'll choose Ubuntu 22 or 20, anything is fine. 22 or 20, yeah, anything is fine. And t2.micro is fine. Key pair, let's create a key pair. Let's say CICD 2023. Create key pair, and we'll keep going down. And these servers అన్నిటికీ కూడా 8080 port open చేద్దాం. 8080. And the Jenkins runs on port 8080. Tomcat for QA runs on 8080. And Tomcat for production also runs on 8080. So let's open all the ports and 8080 port only. Storage, ikkada advanced details kochi. What is common? Java and apt update, right? So let's include a shell script here. /bin / sudo apt get update, sudo apt get install -y default -jdk. This is fine. Okay. Number of servers required are 3 cheddar and launch instances. Now 3 servers gets created, and when the servers are running, immediately jump అయిపోద్దు. Let's give them some time. We got a script run over kada. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'll name them like Jenkins server or dev server. Next, let's go with the QA server, and the third one as a prod server. Manaki simulation kosam prod server, Jenkins server, QA server, and prod server. So now మీరు కావాల్స్తే ఈ 3 యాక్టివిటీస్ ఒకే సర్వర్ లో చేయొచ్చు. అంటే Tomcat 2 సార్లు అంటే you can install Tomcat version 8 ఒకటి QA కి, version 9 ప్రొడక్షన్ కి. Jenkins కూడా అదే సర్వర్ లో. కాకపోతే Jenkins 88 మీద రన్ అవుతాయి. ఈ Tomcat ఇంకొక పోర్ట్, ఇంకొక Tomcat వేరే పోర్ట్ నెంబర్. అట్లా 3 మీరు కావాలంటే ఒకే సర్వర్ మెయింటైన్ చేయొచ్చు. But to understand things better, let's break this. So Jenkins server is not yet. Let's connect it. Open git bash. CD in the downloads part because my authentication file is present here. And the compact keyboards decibel. There are a lot of keys missing here. Yes. Insert a picture video. Delete a backspace. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We got connected, and Java version. Yeah, Java is ready. So now what to do? We got on this server. We got to install Jenkins. మరలా మీరు కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవ్వకుండా ఉండడం కోసం what you can do is a sudo vim /etc/hostname. Jump to hostname path remove this existing host name and add Jenkins server. If you wish to, you can change your host name.
Restart చేయాలి.
True. So sudo init 6 command and Jenkins gets restarted. The time the server is restarted, you find Ubuntu@Jenkins server. Likewise, servers ki kuda, if you want to change the host name for a QA server and prod server, what to do? Change the host names. So over here, change the host names to servers. So how to do that? Let's jump to connect. Copy this command, open git bash. Okay. Then open just that. Yeah. Okay. Yes, and sudo win /etc/host name and change the host name to something else. Ikkada QA server and not mandatory though, but just for your understanding. Sudo init 6 server gets restarted. Again, let's go back and even to the prod server. Let's go and change the host names. Connect. Copy this command and enter. Yes, and sudo win /etc/host name. Let's change the host name to prod server. Prod server. ఇదండి. sorry. Okay, no? Okay, yeah. So we changed this host name. Yes, sir. No?
We have changed, but we didn't do.
/etc/host name.
We didn't do start.
Oh, okay. Restart. Sudo init 6 enter and the server gets restarted. Meanwhile, let's connect to our very first server. The very first command is Jenkins server. This is QA server. The last one is prod server. Let's connect to our Jenkins server. Exclamation 502. Enter and yeah. So we find that already the name is changed. Jenkins server. Now what?
Bro, profile chain అన్నాడు bro.
Let's install Jenkins or
Manager.
So Jenkins
profile కింద వస్తుంట chain.
Online candidates, please remain on mute.
So open land చేసేవాళ్ళం డైరెక్ట్.
Jenkins installation, there are multiple approaches. You can go.
ఏదో చేసాను నర్సరీ chain అన్న నేటివ్ ప్రొఫైల్ కింద వచ్చి.
Venkata, please remain on mute.
మాట్లాడుకోవాలి వాడు నీ తేడా పడితే నేను ఏం చేయలేదు.
లేదండి నాకు పోస్ట్ లేదు. I don't have permission.
అయితే సెట్ చేసుకుని మాట్లాడుకుంటే మిగిలిన నేను చూసుకుంటా. ఆడ మళ్ళీ నైబర్ ఎంక్వైరీలో అప్లికేషన్ లో తేడా పడితే 3000 కట్టిన వెనక్కి ఉన్నారు.
Yeah, so let's continue. Ubuntu here and other installation కూడా మీకు
బ్రో నైబర్ ఎంక్వైరీ ఆడుకో చేస్తాడు.
సో మీ రికార్డింగ్స్
నేను చేపిస్తాను పర్వాలేదు అనుకుంటా.
నేను కర్ల్ ఇంకా దానికి డిఫరెన్స్ ఎనుకున్నా.
ఇబ్బంది అయితే లాగిన్ ఫీచర్ అనేది రాదు.
సరిగ్గా okay. Yeah, so yeah, these commands, right? We got to run these commands. Let's copy them and right click and paste.
సరే సరే సరే.
Yeah, friends. So Jenkins getting installed. అదే మనకి ఇదే సర్వర్లో Ansible ఉంటే we can target installing Tomcat on QA and prod from this server. Ansible ఈ సర్వర్లో జెంకిన్స్ లో ఇన్స్టాల్ చేస్తుంటే కనుక మనం what we can do without going to QA server again and install Tomcat, prod server and install Tomcat. మనం ఏం చేయొచ్చు అంటే from the Jenkins server itself we can target both those servers and install Tomcat in one go. Ansible అనేది మనకి configuration management tool. We'll explore anyways in the future. Okay. So now everything we are doing manually, no worries. And let's wait Jenkins gets installed. So Jenkins installation make you already. I hope by now you got an overview, right? Change the host names of servers. After that, Jenkins server lo what we did install Jenkins. Now QA server lo install Tomcat and Tomcat admin. Right? ఇంకేం చేయాలి QA server లో add a username and password. Same you got to do on QA server as well as prod server. Prod server లో కూడా Tomcat install చేయాలి. We got to add a username and password. Okay. On a Jenkins server, we install Jenkins and Maven. Okay. So let's go and sudo apt get install -y Maven. Keygen అవసరం లేదండి. అవసరం లేదు because I'll explain why. So what happened now on this Jenkins server, we already installed Maven. We installed Jenkins, right? Sudo systemctl status Jenkins and Jenkins is running, right? So now let's jump to, I'll exit from here. Jenkins will exit అయిపోతుంది. And now what I do again, I say history and చూద్దాం ఇక్కడ మనం these are the three commands, right? So 502 3 4 502 వచ్చేసి Jenkins 3 and 4 here. So let's go with exclamation first connect to 503 and history command చూడండి ఎంత యూజ్ అవుతుంది. So you got to adapt the same shortcuts. Okay. So see now we are at the QA server level. A prompt to making it clear that you are at the QA server. So sudo apt all -y tomcat 9 hyphen admin. Multiple packages మీరు ఇట్లా యాడ్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్ళిపోవచ్చు, no problem. Space ఇచ్చుకుని. So these two are required now. Let's say tomcat 9 admin. So sudo systemctl status tomcat 9. That's fine. Tomcat is running, right? And now sudo vim /etc/tomcat 9/tomcat-users.xml. Let's jump to this file and create a user. మరి ఆ plugin కి user information అడుగుతుంది కదా. So that's where we are adding a user here in Tomcat. User space username is equal to, let's say tc01. Here is some username, simple username. Password is equal to, let's say tc01. Roles is equal to manager-script. Close it. Escape :wq. Sudo service tomcat 9 restart. ఇంకేమైనా చేయాలండి అవసరం లేదా? Sufficient for that. Creating what's a password to this user ఇవి అవసరం లేదండి. Why means ఈ Tomcat user create చేసాం కదా, through that user artifact gets deployed. So no problem. We don't need to give any password authentication here. Okay. So let's say exit and again history 504 and exclamation 504. Meanwhile, let's document things here. QA server and prod server no. Install Tomcat and Tomcat admin. Add a username and password. Create a user and create username and password. Tomcat. We don't be doing that. Sudo vim /etc/tomcat 9/server dot sorry tomcat users /etc tomcat 9/ ఇదండి. Yeah, what is the reason? Prod server కదా, sudo vim /etc/tomcat 9/ prod లో tomcat ఇన్స్టాల్ అవ్వలేదా? Let's find out. Sudo systemctl status tomcat 9. What happened? ఒక్క server లో ఇన్స్టాల్ అవ్వలేదు. The script failed. So let's find out. Java is available. Java -version. Java is installed. Then what's the problem here? Oh, మనం ఇన్స్టాల్ చేయలేదు కదండి. Yeah. Sorry. I thought మనం స్క్రిప్ట్ రన్ చేసామేమో అనుకుంటున్నాను నేను. Sorry. Sudo apt get install -y tomcat 9 -admin. Enter and oops tomcat 9-admin. Yeah, now sudo vim /etc/tomcat 9. Oops. Tomcat 9 tomcat users.xml. Let's open it and user ఏం క్రియేట్ చేసామంటే ఇంతకు ముందు tc01.
Username.
Likewise over here, let's create another user. Let's say user space username is equal to tc prod 1 andam. Yep, password is equal to tc prod 1 because this is a production server. Roles is equal to manager -script escape : and one more thing friends, ఇది ఈ ఫైల్ లో మీరు యూజర్ యాడ్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు make sure that you add a user right above this line. అంతేగాని ఈ లైన్ లోపల యాడ్ చేశారనుకో it becomes a comment. ఇక్కడ ఈ పర్టికులర్ thing, this is the beginning of a HTML or XML comment and this is the end of a XML comment. So if you type something inside here and మీరు ఆ బ్లాక్స్ లోపల కనుక యూజర్ ని క్రియేట్ చేశారు, because I saw some people వాళ్ళు ఏం చేసేవారంటే ఇక్కడ క్రియేట్ చేసేవారు యూజర్ స్పేస్ యూజర్ నేమ్. చూడండి మీకు అసలు అక్కడ కలర్ వేరియేషన్ ఏం రావట్లేదు. Whatever you type here, this entire thing is not at all considered because it's a comment. So ఇది beginning of a comment. Web lo XML lo HTML documents ki this is the beginning of a comment and this is the end of a comment. So you have to jump outside and run the or create your user. Okay, make sure of it. Now let's jump in and sudo service tomcat 9 restart. Server lo chesama restart UI lo. Yeah, okay, perfect. So now let's exit here and jump back to our Jenkins UI exclamation 501 and 502 Jenkins. Okay. Let's connect it to the server and now I'll get the UI2 EC2. మీరు కన్ఫర్మ్ చేసుకోవాలనుకుంటే ఈ సర్వర్స్ అన్నిటికీ go to the public IP :8080. అలాగే QA server public IP తీసుకోండి. Just check whether Tomcat is installed or not. Public IP :8080. It works and వచ్చిందంటే yeah, Tomcat is installed. Likewise prod server public IP :8080. If you get it works, Tomcat is already installed. Like Jenkins server, unlock Jenkins వచ్చిందంటే yes, Jenkins is installed. Now all we got to do is unlock Jenkins. So let's copy this and Jenkins server lo sudo cat and again paste. So this is the password. Let me copy the password. So Control C panchedandi ikkada. You got to go with copy. Shift insert. Yeah, shift insert press cheyalsi vastund. Or right click and copy it. Continue. Now what happens? You find install suggested plugins. Fast ga అయిపోవాలి. So mostly మనకు కావాల్సిన plugins అన్ని ఇక్కడ ఇన్స్టాల్ అయిపోతాయి. Like Git plugin. You don't need to again install it from scratch, right? And some of the plugins like Maven plugins, SSH, pipeline plugins, different project types కూడా యాడ్ అయిపోతాయి. మీరు అది క్యాన్సిల్ చేసి install plugins of my choice అన్నారు. Then again you have to manually install some of these. So go with install suggested plugins. Okay. And yeah, now we got to create a user, right? User, let me go with my name. Some dummy email address and click save and continue. And okay, no need of bookmarking this one, right? Because public IPs keep changing. So let's go start using Jenkins. This is the page where we reached. Now, friends, let's go create a new item, new job. And before we creating a new job, there are some set of plugins. And marla back and forth ayye badalu konni plugins install cheseskondi right at the beginning. So plugins to install ఏంటంటే deploy to container plugin అట్లాగే copy artifact అనే plugin ఉంటుంది. ఇవి రెండు ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకోండి. Copy artifact, deploy to container and copy artifact. Let's go jump to manage Jenkins and install those. Warnings dismiss chesandi, not required for now. Manage plugins and available plugins which is search for deploy to container. Deploy to container. This one. Yep, install without restart. Still pending. Let's wait. Yeah, it's done, right? Likewise, copy artifact plugin of install. Again, available plugins, search for copy artifact. Yeah, just copy the artifact plugin, install without restart. And keep going down. See? Now, plugin got successfully installed. Now we are good, friends. We are good. These are the only two plugins required for now. Later, inka vere plugins kuda chudam. Now, what I do is I click on new item and CI/CD project 100 freestyle pipeline chudam. Let's do this with freestyle and then with pipeline. Click OK. CI/CD project 1 freestyle. Okay. The description low CI/CD project to perform. Let's say first step continuous download. Next second step continuous build. And like continuous deployment. Continuous deployment. Let's try to perform these three. Online candidates, are we there? Yes, no?
Yeah,
Yes,
brother.
Prashant.
Yeah. So we're adding our repository URL and then branch specifier, just leave it blank, friends. Don't add anything because the branch here is main. మనకి ఇక్కడ branch name వచ్చేసి main ఉంది కదా. So when we are unaware of which branch, just leave it blank. So I'm leaving it blank and then credentials కూడా అవసరం లేదు because it's a public repo. And over here, build steps, invoke top level Maven targets, and all we got to do is package. And then what to do, friends? Package అయిన తర్వాత I want to deploy the artifact to QA environment. So I'll choose this option, deploy warrior to container. It is available because I installed a plugin. Okay. So war file, ఇక్కడ మనం path ఇస్తుంటే అది హర్ట్ అవుతుంది కాబట్టి let's go with a glob pattern. Yesterday you remember path iస్తుంటే it's saying I need a glob pattern, so leave it as is. Context path I just said test. And DevOps.war package I want to deploy it as test. And the container details here, let's go choose content 9, right? So add container. Wow. ఇదండి ఇక్కడ Tomcat 9. So let's go Tomcat 9 and Tomcat 9x remote. And now URL, let's go add a URL http:// ఇదండి let's select credentials add చేయలేదా. Okay. Username test TC01. Yeah, TC01, right? TC prod1 and prod production server. For this TC01, simple TC01. And let's click on add. Select the credentials. http:// private IP, right? So let's go get the private IP address of QA server. This one. Jenkins awesome. Private IP of QA :8080, and that is it. Let's click on save. Apply and save ayi akkade untam manu. Save ante this entire configuration gets saved and we get back from configuration. Yeah. So we created a project named CI/CD project 1, and let's go to the dashboard and build it. So now what should happen? What happens, friends? We define 3 steps: download, build, deploy. So everything happens step by step. So shouldn't it build executor status now? The project is ongoing. Some process happened. Is it successful or not? Let's go to QA server and say test. What does that mean? It means the build is successful. It worked, right? So you can find here logs student. So you might have a question like SSH keys in the copy చేయడం. ఒక యూజర్ నుండి కాపీ Tomcat user credential system కాబట్టి Tomcat communicates with the QA server. So you don't need to give SSH keys of Jenkins into QA. Not required. అదే మనం SCP చేస్తుంటే then it is required to add the SSH keys of Jenkins. So since we are copying through a plugin manages to connect to that server and add the artifact into QA environment. Okay. So now you can find here console output will take build information. How the build happened. Pom.xml on dependencies and from Maven central repository, they got downloaded. An artifact got generated here. Somewhere here you find an artifact generated. See, this is the artifact generated, and finally, an artifact got deployed to QA environment as test. See, final outcome, final verdict is it is successful, right? The project is successful. Now, meaning if we go back to this picture, already first activity chestam. Developers have written some source code and uploaded the source code to GitHub. Just a visual. Developers have written some code and they uploaded to GitHub. Now, with the very first step, you downloaded the source code onto Jenkins server. With Maven, you built an artifact and you deployed the artifact to QA environment. Now, actually, a QA server there are some test cases for this application. The organization if they are following a TDD approach, test-driven development approach, what happens is some test cases do run on this artifact directly. Selenium test cases, JMeter, Selenium, Tosca, Itla some test cases ikkada run ayyi. Whether this application is fine or not, those test cases gives us a result, publishes a result. A result kuda directly it reaches to the developer. Developer looks into that and makes changes to his source code. కాకపోతే మనకి ఇప్పుడు ఆ టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ మనం చేయట్లేదు కానీ లెట్స్ వాట్స్ ఇట్ డూ యాజ్ అ మాన్యువల్ టెస్ట్. సో మీరే ఎవరో సమ్వన్ జస్ట్ టేక్ ద రోల్ యాజ్ అ మాన్యువల్ టెస్ట్. సో మీరు ఏం చేయాలంటే ఈ అప్లికేషన్ టెస్ట్ చేయాలి, వెదర్ ఇట్స్ వర్కింగ్ ఫైన్ ఆర్ నాట్, వెదర్ ద అప్లికేషన్ ఇస్ ఫీజిబుల్ ఆర్ నాట్. యా, సో అందరూ సాటిస్ఫైడ్ ఈ అప్లికేషన్ తోటి ఆర్ యూ వాంట్ ఎనీ చేంజెస్ టు బి డన్ హియర్? యా, let's say I don't like this color. Likewise, I don't want I want to add some background color to this form here. Then what to do? We update as a manual team. We update developers. We propose some changes. Developers changes, they work on their source code and push their code to GitHub. Now, what I do is, as a developer, I'm doing a change directly at GitHub level. So let's go to index.jsp and let's make some change here. Okay, I'll identify some hash. Oops. Control F. Hash F. Do we have any value? Yeah. Background color is on the ticket. Let me change it to hash FAEB7, some value, some hexadecimal code. At like a box shadow, which is I'll make it to hash 000. And what else? Where else do we have this triple F? Somewhere here we got again a white color. I'm changing it to hash 000. And again, do we have any other references? No. Okay, fine friends. So I'm making some changes. Likewise to this image, I'll make it some 300 pixels. And now what I do, I'll do a commit here. So new commit. Let's go back and say commit changes. Now, what did a developer do? He made some changes to the source code. A developer did changes to the source code, which is not yet reflected at anywhere. A change another. So how to pull the code change? Yesterday we discussed. How automate the build process. What are the three approaches we discussed yesterday? Immediate, I think. Immediate change. I think. No. When a developer does a change, immediately a build should trigger. GitHub webhook concept in GitHub webhook pedtaru. Whenever a change happens immediately, all these activities do happen. Second, which is whole SEO, right? Automate cheyalante ikkada meeku three approaches unnai. One is webhook. If you want the change to be immediately reflected, right? Second one, whole SEM. And మీరు schedule పెడతారు, if and only if there is a change at the source code and GitHub, then only it does the build. The third option is build periodically. Build periodically and it just blindly follows. It just blindly follows whether there is a change or not. మీరు ఇచ్చిన schedule గా build అనేది జరుగుతుంది. So you can apply, if you want to, you can apply any of these to your project. For now, I'm not doing anything. I'll just go and trigger things manually. So I'll go and build a job manually. So once I build a job, now what happens? The new change is pulled, right? Again, build is initiated. Now, if I go refresh this page, should find a change. If change reflect and the job got built successfully. Yeah, friends, is it true? Yes, no. Job got built successfully. There's a change in the application. Now, let's say I'm okay with this application. As a test guy, now what I do, I leave an update saying the job is successfully built. It can be released. or sorry, the job, the application is absolutely fine, you can go with it. Not approved either, what happens? The request should be routed directly back to the development team. But again, friends, e manual or notification, sorry, over here, if something is getting rejected, but testing అనేది రిజెక్ట్ అయింది అనుకోండి, a development team should get notified, right? అట్లాగే ఇక్కడ build అనేది for some reason a build failed, everyone should get notified. Maybe right at the beginning pull failed, get pull option, the very first download step failed. What should happen? A notification should arise. A notification should arise to the entire team who are involved in this project. లేదు మనకి తెలియట్లేదు అనుకోండి whether Jenkins is doing the job or not. How do we get to know? Right? So you are automating things, but whether that automation is working fine or not, we should get updates. అంటే ఇక్కడ మనం ఏం చేయాలంటే we have to enable some proper notification. ప్రతి జాబ్ సక్సెస్ కి లేదా బిల్డ్ ఫెయిల్యూర్ కి we should get updated by Jenkins. Because agile methodology, the main problem is, what did we discuss? No proper communication between teams. There is no communication between an operational team and development teams. So ikkada kuda ade jarigindi anukondi. We automated a job and we are in a, let's say we are in a situation that the job is working fine. Kapote right at the beginning ikkada job fail ayindi. Then how do we get to know that Jenkins did not process the job? And we automated this process and we are like, okay, let Jenkins do. But right at the beginning, the job failed. So we have to enable some proper notification. Meaning for every step Jenkins does, the team should get notified. For that, in Jenkins, we got email notifications. Email notifications. అంటే ఏ స్టెప్ జరిగినా ఒకవేళ బిల్డ్ అయితే ఫైన్, బిల్డ్ కాలేదనుకోండి everyone should get notified. ఈమెయిల్ అనేది ఆటోమేటిక్ గా సెండ్ అయిపోతుంది. సో దాట్ we will see again మళ్ళీ మనం how to configure email notifications we got to learn, right? సో ఇట్లా ఒక్కొక్క కాన్సెప్ట్ మనం అన్ఫోల్డ్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్ళాలి. సో ఫర్ నౌ లెట్స్ సే a test team, when they're rejecting an application, let's say they're routing back to the development team, updating them, you got to rework on the application. Let's say a test team, if they approved an application, let's say they are manually updating a team saying the product is ready to be released. Now let's say I got one such update. Etla ante oka test team వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారంటే they created a job over here, CI/CD job 2, ఇక్కడ freestyle project. యాక్చువల్లీ మనం ఇంకొక జాబ్ క్రియేట్ చేసి ఈ జాబ్ ద్వారా టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ రన్ చేస్తాం ఆర్టిఫాక్ట్ పైన. బట్ ఫర్ నౌ వాట్ ఐ డూ ఇస్ I'll just go here and say, I'll just add a simple shell command here saying echo testing passed. Testing passed and read just for now. Okay, so now what should happen? అంటే యాక్చువల్గా ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ ఎట్లా నడుస్తుందంటే కంటిన్యూస్ డౌన్లోడ్, కంటిన్యూస్ బిల్డ్, కంటిన్యూస్ డిప్లాయ్మెంట్ అయ్యాక యూ క్రియేట్ అనదర్ జాబ్. ఇన్ దాట్ జాబ్ యూ డౌన్లోడ్ టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ and you run those test cases on the artifact which you deployed, and that result is published to us. If it is successful, based on that result, we release the application through the second job. The second job ద్వారా మనం application release చేస్తాం production. Why is that? Means freestyle projects ఏంటంటే they are very limited. When we creating freestyle jobs, see here we are getting a message. Central feature of Jenkins will build your project combining any source code management with any build system, and this is used for other than software build. These job types are very limited. Chinna activities maatrame మనం we go freestyle. For complex long running activities, a lot of pipeline of activities ఉన్నాయి, some 10 or 20. In those cases, all of them we can manage with pipeline job. Freestyle aithe we cannot do more. Now let's say a quick example. Chudandi, if at all, let's say the application is approved by QA and I have to release it. So to release a product, if I go to configuration page of the CI/CD project one, and I'll jump to post build actions. Okay. ఈ పోస్ట్ బిల్డ్ యాక్షన్స్ లో ఏం చేస్తానంటే ఐ చూస్ డిప్లాయ్ టు కంటైనర్ అండ్ ఐ చూస్ ప్రొడక్షన్ సర్వర్. కానీ ఇక్కడ చూడండి డిప్లాయ్ టు కంటైనర్ హైలైట్ అవుతుందా మనకి? ఇట్స్ గ్రేడ్ అవుట్, రైట్? మీనింగ్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్లీ యూజ్డ్ ఓన్లీ వన్స్ ఇన్ దిస్ ప్రాజెక్ట్. సో ఇప్పుడు మనకి అప్రూవల్ ఉంది, బట్ హౌ డు వి రిలీజ్ అ ప్రొడక్ట్ when there is no such option available? Yeah, when the option is not available, how to release the product? Yeah, friends. So that is where now what should I do? I have to create one more job. ఇదే మనకి ఫ్రీ స్టైల్ జాబ్ లో ఉన్న ఛాలెంజ్ వచ్చేసి ఇదే. Multiple activities we cannot do at a time, or we cannot do from one single project. Now what am I doing? I'm creating one more job as an extension to this job. ఈ జాబ్ కి ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ గా ఇంకొక జాబ్. And in that job, I'm saying testing passed. Okay, just testing passed for now. And this is the fourth stage in CI/CD. So now, what should when should this happen? The fourth job anedi, or the second job, when should it execute? After all the steps of CI/CD project one are done, then this project should execute. So for that, what I do is I'll jump to project one, click configure, and here we say we jump to post build actions in project one, and here we say build other projects, meaning after all these steps are done, another project should get invoked. Which project is that? Let's go and specify it here. CI/CD job 2. Okay, CI/CD job 2. Let's click save. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే your main project, CI/CD project 1 is the mainstream. In continuation to these activities, you created one more job. So if you build this job 1, project 1, automatically the second job, once all these steps here are done, then the second job invokes. So ఇది కొంచెం కన్ఫ్యూషన్ గా ఉండొచ్చు. Yeah, but don't worry, you'll get it. So CI/CD 1 is done. Now CI/CD job 2 is getting built. And నేనేం బిల్డ్ చేయట్లేదండి ఆ జాబ్. I'm not touching it at all. Now let's find out. Let's go refresh the page. I built this project. After all the steps of this project are done, this project didn't move. And ఇప్పుడు చూడండి ఇక్కడ CI/CD job 2 లో నాకు వస్తున్న అప్డేట్ ఏంటంటే, let me just look at the logs. Here I'm getting an update saying build is successful. Sorry, testing passed. Okay, result వచ్చింది, testing passed. Now what should I do? If testing is passed, I have to release the application to production. So that activity again I do from this job 2. అయితే ఈ జాబ్ 2 నుండి యాక్టివిటీ చేయాలంటే first in this job 2 there should be an artifact present. But if we look into the workspace of this job 2, do we have any files present? Artifact ఎక్కడ జనరేట్ అయిందండి? In project 1, right? Artifact got generated in project 1. In project 1 workspace, you have this artifact war package. Now you have to copy this artifact into the job 2, and from there you have to deploy the artifact to production server. So for doing that, again, మనం ఏం చేయాలి వస్తుందంటే ఇక్కడ go to CI/CD project 1, configure, and ఇక్కడ మరలా ఇంకొక step ఉంది. What is that? Add post build actions and archive the artifacts. Archive the artifacts, and you have to say which artifact to archive. So *****what. ఈ పర్టికులర్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ వర్క్ స్పేస్ లో ఉన్న ఆర్టిఫాక్ట్ వార్ ప్యాకేజ్ ఏదైతే ఉందో ఆర్కైవ్ ఇట్, మీనింగ్ కంప్రెస్ ఇట్ ఆర్ ప్యాకేజ్ ఇట్. అండ్ వన్స్ డన్, నౌ యూ గో బ్యాక్ టు యువర్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ 2, CI/CD job 2. Again, configure this one. And what should you do here? Let's keep going down. Ikkada build step lo, in this build step, you got to go with copy artifacts from another project. Select that option and give your project name. CI/CD project 1 నుండి artifact ఇక్కడికి copy అవ్వాలి. So let's click save and see friends, have a look. Currently my workspace is empty. CI/CD job 2 workspace empty. Now if I build the job again, which job should I build? 1 or 2? First 2 ఎప్పుడు build చేయకండి. First you should build, and now what happens? All continuous download, build, deploy happens. Artifact gets packaged. Next CI/CD job 2 begins. Test happens. The artifact is then copied to this job 2 workspace. Student, if job 2 if we look into the workspace of job 2, do we find an artifact here? Job 2, there is an artifact. Now we are good to copy this artifact into production server. How? Again, let's go to CI/CD job 2 and configure it. And this step makes sense in the matlab. What you do, you just jump to post build actions, deploy water here to container, and which water file to deploy? */*star.war context path. Let's say release 101, something like that. Containers Tomcat 9 kada. So let's search for Tomcat 9x remote, and yeah, over here Tomcat URL of QA server or prod server. Oh, credentials, sorry, credentials server. So you got to give the credentials of Tomcat at production level. So what are the credentials? TF prod, sorry, TC prod. ఇక్కడ కూడా TC prod అండి. 01 ఏమని ఇచ్చామా? Yeah, TC prod 01. Yeah. TC prod 01. Okay, and let's go say add. Select the credentials TC prod 01. Tomcat URL of the production server. http:// private IP address of your prod server. This one. :8080. Add. Sorry. Yeah, that is it. Let's click save and build the project. Let's this one or the main job. Mainstream job ఎప్పుడు build చేయాలి, not the downstream one. So ఏదండి ఇక్కడ చేస్తే మీరు సెట్ ఆఫ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ జరగట్లేదు. యా ఫస్ట్ ఇట్ షుడ్ గో ఇన్ అ ఫ్లో. సో ఇక్కడ చేసిన ఇప్పుడు మీకు అప్లికేషన్ డిప్లాయ్ అవుతుంది, బట్ ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఆర్ ఎనీ చేంజెస్ దే డోంట్ గెట్ రిఫ్లెక్టెడ్, రైట్? సో లెట్స్ బిల్డ్ ద ప్రాజెక్ట్. నౌ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్స్, all the steps, CI/CD steps, one after another gets released. So you automated an entire pipeline of activities. So what happened? Job 2 fail in it. What's the reason? Let's have a look. Console output. So what is the problem? Attempting to deploy. Okay. The username and password you provided are not correct. Tomcat username password manachindi. They're not correct. So let's find out. Exclamation 504. Are we following, friends? Online candidates. Yeah, friends, are we following? Yeah. If everyone's following now, someone should take lead and direct or guide the entire team. Online gani, offline gani. Evarikaithe ardhamayindo, you have to create everything from scratch. Chestara? TC prod 1 andi. TC prod 101 kadu 1. 01 ఇచ్చాము మనం, బట్ ఇక్కడ TC prod. So let's go to CI/CD job 2, configure it, and again 01 ఇచ్చాము కదా. Let's correct it. Let's add Jenkins and username TC prod 1. and TC prod 1. TCPR only 1. And save. Oh, sorry. Configure select channel. Let's go back to the dashboard. Build your mainstream project, and now once mainstream is done, then downstream project kicks in. So mainstream jarutunappu, you should find your downstream in the build queue. Yep. So now, if I go take the public IP address of my prod server and colon 8080 / TC, sorry, release one algorithm. Our application is released. Okay. Fine. We are able to do all these activities. One more thing, friends. Some release manager wants to approve before the application gets released here. Constraint the application should not get released directly to production. Some manager, let's say here, Bal Raju, he is the release manager. Now he should get notified. He should get notified that a project is waiting for his approval. Waiting for approval. And if and only if he clicks yes, then only the product should get deployed. If he says no, the product should not get released. So we got to add such constraint too. Constraint add here. Because your applications should not get finalized and released directly automatically. Someone should authorize and then only the application should get released. So how do we add such constraint? And like in notifications, if I add a constraint, if I can condition petition, now Balraj should get notified, right? There is a project waiting for your approval. If he doesn't get notified, how do we know that a project is waiting for him? So again, notifications. So how do you enable a notification and notify your manager saying there is a project waiting for your approval? How do we do that? Yeah, these are all the activities we have to further explore. But by then, you should get a complete overview on this concept. E-workflow. By then, you should get this, let's say, completely practicable. According to the practice is similar. Right? So, what we do now, you tell me. Mere practice chestara, I'll just monitor. Yeah, one of you. You're in a lead తీసుకొని చేస్తారా? We got time, lot of time. 4:10 అయిందండి time. Anyone online candidates? అంటే ఈ కాన్సెప్ట్ అంతా మీరు చేయగలిగితే then other aspects ఇంకా యాడ్ చేయొచ్చు. Right? There might be some confusion, like we added some conditions, right? ఇక్కడ ప్రాజెక్ట్ చేసే టైంలో మనం copy artifacts వచ్చేసాము. Next, what else? Archive the artifacts వచ్చేసాము. That might be a bit confusing. First step, second step, third step the difficult కాదండి. Even fourth. Testing కూడా ఏం problem కాదు. Only the when we're breaking the project into two parts, akkade confusions. Right? It's all because of the limitations of freestyle. అదే మనం pipeline project వెళ్ళిపోయామనుకో. Pipeline project, you can do all the activities in one go. Of a single project చాలు. In one project, you can manage all these steps. Download, build, deploy, test, delivery, everything you can manage in one single project only. Yep. So, yeah, tell me, friends, what happened? The project anta cheyadaki manaku enta time pattindandi? Around 1 hour.
1 hour.
Configurations anni pakkana pedithe, ante server creation anta pakkana pedithe, maybe some 20 minutes, right? After creating a configurations, only the project some 20 minutes better. But let me try to do one more time. Okay? Again from scratch, totally from scratch. And servers ain't create cheyanu, but don't worry, my servers anni cheyanu. See friends, I'll delete these jobs. Let me go delete the project and even delete this project too. ఒక్క build కూడా చేయనండి. I'll do everything in one go. Okay, so first let's say project 1 part 1 andam, because we are breaking a freestyle project into 2. So part 1, and what I do is CI/CD. Here we're doing only in the first part, we're doing continuous download, next continuous build, and third continuous deploy, right? And source code management git. Let's go get the URL. Let's go get the URL project 1 and the code. Let's just copy this URL. Repository URL. Followed by that, branches to build. Let's make it blank and keep going down. Ambient package kadandi. So invoke top level Maven targets package. Okay, and after that, post build actions. Deploy water here to container, and here let's say */**.var. Oh, sorry, sir. Yeah, */***.var, and let's say test01 test app antnanu. Containers. I'll go containers and Tomcat 9. Let's search Tomcat 9x, and already మనం credentials add చేసాం ఉన్నాము. The TC01 TC01 for what's a QS server. So Tomcat URL http://. Let's get the private IP address of QS server. QS server. Okay, so this is the private IP address. Let me add the private IP :8080 and click save. Now I'll create one more project, but what I do is I'll go to this project configuration part 1 lone. I'll add other steps too. Ante ikkada em chedam ante add post build actions kelli build other projects ante. Haven't yet created, but I'll give a name, like let's say project 1 part 2 antunna. Not yet available, but I'm just doing it. Likewise, inkoka post build action add chestanu. Archive the artifacts, and I say which files to archive ante *****.log. Let me save it. Marla mera project 1 ki vellalsina pani ledhu. Now I'll go with it. What's a project part 2? Let's create a new item, and here I say project 1 part 2 freestyle project type. Click OK. And in this project, I'm just adding a simple message. Some test జరిగినట్టు, right? And sorry. Over here we got to go with execute shell, and let's say echo testing fast antunna. And after that, I'll add a post build action. Configure here, and I'll add a post build action here. And here I say deploy water here to container. And since sorry, before we do this, we have to copy the artifact. So add build step, copy artifacts from another project, and get a project 1 part 1. Ikkada nundi artifacts raavali. Once the artifacts are copied, then post build action, deploy water here to container. And now what to do? *****.war and context path. Let's release 102 containers. Tomcat 9. So Tomcat 9x remote, and TC prod 1 kadandi. I'm adding those credentials. Tomcat URL http:// private IP address of prod server :8080. Right? Let's click save. But we have configured everything, CI/CD. And which project should I build now?
Part 1 project.
Part 1 project. Let's hit enter. So let's find out friends what happens. ఎవరైనా డెవలపర్స్ ఉంటే కొన్ని ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ రాయండి సోర్స్ కోడ్. చూడండి అయిందా ప్రాజెక్ట్ 1 2 ఎంటైర్ CI/CD happened in a flow. Software source code got downloaded, created as an artifact, deployed to QA, some QA test cases happened, and finally release happened. But things won't happen as expected. Itla jaragadandi. We find a build process happening for 1 hour or 2 hours. And application severity based testing builds, they take a lot of time. And then tests also, some automated test cases, they keep on constantly failing. Alanti situations, how do you notify the entire team? Likewise, how do you make sure that at every level the project has constraints? That is, some user should authenticate the project. Likewise, how do you automate this entire process with notifications? No, sorry, not notifications. These concepts. Webhooks, poll SCM, build periodically. Like notifications. Likewise, constraints. How to add constraints? Even add చేసేసరికి మీకు already the project becomes huge. వీటికి తోడు if we add SonarQube code quality check, artifact repository, meaning whatever the artifact is generated, we have to preserve versions of this artifact into either Nexus, right? JFrog, Artifactory, JFrog Artifactory. When we add all these, what happens? Definitely your project becomes huge, right? But ఒకసారి ఇదంతా మాస్టర్ చేయండి. The concepts what we did initially, just try to master this. ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ మీకు ఏంటంటే how to install plugins, how to configure things. You get an overview. Infra creation వస్తుంది, right? And deployments ఎట్లా చేయాలి. When you do, ఎక్కడో చోట ఏదో మిస్టేక్ చేస్తుంటారు. You get a lot of errors. How to address those errors. ఇవన్నీ కూడా you have to master. And once you are able to do things the way how I did, and second time when I built this project only once, but everything happened successfully. If we attain that level, we are good. Right? We are good to go with other aspects too. Repu pipeline project chuddam. Pipeline as code. Yeah, pipeline project type where you don't have this much confusion, but there is some coding involved. Pipeline project ki manaki konta coding and just some outline we got to learn. So there are two types of approaches: scripted pipeline and declarative pipeline. So scripted pipeline వచ్చేసి మీకు syntax ఇట్లా ఉంటుంది. It begins with something called a node, okay, open curly brace, steps, and here, stage అనుకుంటారు. It's not steps. Node, open curly brace, stage. And here you got to say continuous download. Continuous download, and add continuous download related steps here. Next, again a stage, continuous build, open curly brace, add some steps related to stage. This way, continuous deployment, test to delivery, and we keep writing some code. Coming to declarative pipeline. Declarative pipeline with circuit, the syntax is something like this. Declarative pipelines begin with a keyword called pipeline. Pipeline and a keyword to begin of. Open curly brace. Here you say agent, any. Next, stages. Again, open curly brace. Here, stage. And here you say continuous download. Again, within stage, you add steps. Okay, what are the steps to be done? You define here, right? And steps and GP. Open curly brace, you define steps here. For continuous download, close it and close the stage. Idantha kuda oka stage. Again, for continuous build, you have to open another stage. In a stage, again, there's a section called steps. continuous deployment, test, delivery, and everything is done. You have to close your stages part. The stages block me, close chair. After that, you have to quickly close your pipeline. So this is how we got to write a declarative pipeline. Now, the advantage with writing code, things become pretty much easier for you. And a CI/CD project, entire project is CI/CD script browser. You are assigned with a new project. Now, what you do, existing code as it is copy cheskoni. You make some minor changes according to that new code and execute it. And the customers now for the first time, you may find difficult writing all this code. Second, third, very projects which you just change GitHub URL. Simple as that. Some steps you change. That is it. Yeah? Reusability. Main advantage reusability. Likewise, you can easily audit things and a script choosing in which user am I into which server am I deploying. Information within the script is available. So easy to audit things rather than jumping to let's say freestyle అనుకోండి. ఇప్పుడు ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ పార్ట్ 1 లో నేను QA సర్వర్ URL యాడ్ చేసిన, ప్రొడక్షన్ సర్వర్ URL యాడ్ చేసిన. తెలుసుకోవాలంటే మనం ఏం చేయాలి? We have to dive into the project configuration page and then test it, look for it. అదే పైప్లైన్ స్క్రిప్ట్ అనుకోండి, మీరు జస్ట్ ఆ పైప్లైన్ లోనే మీకు తెలిసిపోతుంది. సో ఫర్ క్విక్కర్ ఆడిట్స్, ఫర్ బెటర్ పర్ఫార్మెన్స్, you find declarative and scripted pipeline approach is very much easier. కాకపోతే కోడింగ్ కొంచెం గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి, సింటాక్స్ అయినా, అట్లీస్ట్ ద సింటాక్స్. And again, within the stages here, ఇక్కడ మనం ఏం చేయాలంటే we have to write our syntax in Groovy format. Groovy language, DSL, domain specific language. But need not to worry, we have some shortcuts to write this code. I'll show you how to do that in the session tomorrow. Yeah. So online candidates, are we good? Yes, no?
Yes, Prashant.
Yes, Prashant.
Okay. భారంగా చెప్తున్నారు ఏంటండి? What happened? అరే ఎందుకు జాయిన్ అయ్యారా డెవాప్స్ కోర్స్ అనేది చెప్తున్నారు ఒక్కొక్కరు. See friends, lot of interesting concept we got. Okay, don't worry. ఇవేం కాదండి, ఏదో తింటూ ఉంటే వేపకు కూడా తీగ అయిపోతుందట. Like that, when we keep practicing, everything will get better. Okay, అట్లాగే మీరు సోనార్ క్యూబ్ అడుగుతున్నారు కదా, let me just show you. Sonar Cube installation manaki trouble istundi, but just let me show you how things are simplified with a tool called Docker. Let me just go back here. Downloads part. So sudo apt get install -y docker.io. And just మిమ్మల్ని మోటివేట్ చేయడం కోసం అండి. There is a lot of interesting content. ఈ యొక్క జెంకిన్స్ దాటేస్తే మళ్ళీ మీకు అంటే ఈ పైప్లైన్ కాన్సెప్ట్, ఈ CI/CD యాక్టివిటీస్ దాటిన తర్వాత అగైన్ we have lot of interesting content, operational activities, Jenkins administration చూడాలి, which is very interesting. Okay, trust me. And see friends, there is a tool called Docker, and now if I want Sonar Cube application or maybe Jenkins itself, ఇప్పుడు మనం Jenkins install చేయడానికి ఎంత కష్టపడుతున్నాం అండి, but not at all required. If you run a simple command here, like let's say docker run --name c1, or let's say my Jenkins -d -p 7070 linked with 80 Jenkins/Jenkins. Enter. Within a matter of seconds, Now the software image download our time paduthundi tappa. Within matter of seconds, you get a Jenkins application created, and it's available on port number 7070. So all I have to do is jump to this EC2 dashboard instances. For now, let me open all the ports on this server. EC2 query. Let me just go Jenkins server, security groups, and here 8080 currently all ports are open for now. Edit inbound rules, and let's say all traffic for now, and anywhere, all traffic anywhere, and say save it. Now, see friends, if I just capture this URL, public IP address of my EC2 instance, :7070, you find a new Jenkins application available. Oops, what happened? Public IP :7070. All traffic anywhere. Okay. Opened all the traffic, right? No, all traffic I opened. Opened all the traffic. 7070, everything I opened. So on which server did we install this details? On 78. Jenkins server మీద install చేసింది Docker. Jenkins server only. Yeah, okay. Oops. What happened? Okay, let me give a try here. Okay, let's give a try on QA. So close it. Public IP 7070 should get Jenkins running here. So I think the server is down. It was 1 GB, 1 CPU servers, right? So already 2 Jenkins are running, right? Yeah, just a minute. If you go to EC2 instances, Jenkins server, monitoring చూద్దాం ఒకసారి. It's normal. CPU utilization is fine. Okay, no worries, no problem. Let's connect to this server QA and sudo apt get install -y docker.io. Okay. Let's reboot this one. Yeah, fine, friends. So over here, let me sudo su and docker run -- name my Jenkins -b -p 7070 mapper to 8080 and Jenkins. Jenkins gets installed. Sorry, Jenkins. ఏదండి 88. Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah, see friends, now if I take the public IP address of this server, the QA server యొక్క public IP తీసుకొని take the public IP and try to reach on port 7070. Did we open port for this server? Situated. You're getting Jenkins running, right? Likewise, now if I want some WordPress application, WordPress idea on the websites create చేయడానికి మనకి WordPress application. If I want to start WordPress or Nginx web server or maybe another operating system, like let's say I want a CentOS operating system. What I do, I just run a command docker run -- name. Let's say my CentOS -IT CentOS. If I hit enter, container create అవుతుంది మనకి. Now we get jumped into a CentOS operating system. And within a matter of seconds, it won't take much time. మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ observe చేస్తే this is no longer an EC2 instance. You are not in an EC2 instance. Of course, EC2 instance లోనే CentOS container start అయింది. And this is a separate operating system, CentOS. Right? So this way we have a lot of interesting content అండి. అంటే ఈ just ఈ CI/CD కి ఈ steps కి మీరు don't take things wrong. We got to explore all these in detail. Microservices applications and a concept. See, docker run -- name, let's say my website -d -p, let's say 50/50 map to 80 Ubuntu/Apache 2. What happens is you find a Apache 2 web server created. అంటే ఏం లేదు, మీరు ఈ QA server యొక్క పబ్లిక్ IP తీసుకోండి. Just copy the public IP of this QA server and try to reach on port number 50/50. You get access to Apache 2 web server. If you want to deploy your website here, yes, you can do that. Me website add చేసుకోవాలనుకుంటే yes, you can do that. Right? So this way we have a lot of interesting content. Tomcat kavali. On the same QA server, I can start Tomcat as a container. Again, docker run -- name, my Tomcat -d -p. Let's say some 75/75 map to default port of Tomcat entity 80/80 and say Tomcat. Enter. What happens again? A Tomcat container gets created, and on the same QA server, now you are running 3 applications. Ubuntu web server nadustundi. Ade server pine Jenkins nadustundi. Right? On the same server, now I'm installing Tomcat. Over here, let's go with what's the port number we give? 75/75. Huh? So this is Tomcat. See over here, Apache Tomcat 10.7, 10.1.7. The default page is not available, but Tomcat we have successfully added. There are a lot of things as microservices you can start. WordPress as a container, Nginx as a container, HTTPD as a container, right? And so on. So, Ivakka example or this CI/CD process, you say, right? 2 more days you got to bear with us on these concepts. A scripted pipeline, declarative pipeline. ఇది కూడా ఎలా సింపుల్ గా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలో నేను మీకు రేపు చెప్తాను. Once done with these steps, we are good to dive into adding email notifications, Slack notifications. ఇప్పుడు ఇండస్ట్రీలో ఎక్కువ Slack యూజ్ చేస్తున్నారు, Slack channel, right? Slack notifications. After that, there is an application called Catlight notifications. And as soon as a build happens, immediately you get a notification. Catlight.io. Let's see this example too for now. Catlight an application on them. All we got to do is download this application. And Jenkins is running. I think it's stopped, right? Server is very busy, I guess. Yeah, still running. Server, I think it's since we started to Jenkins over there, it's it went into a loop. Yeah, now it's stopping. Okay. So have a look then. Let me close this one. Catlight application is getting downloaded. Once Catlight is downloaded, how to get notifications from here? And if we have a team, all of us should get notified if at all. Let's say Venkat, let's say he started a build on a job. All of us should get notified that a build process happening. If it is successful, you should get a build initiated by Venkat, build successful. If it is failed, everyone gets notified. Bill failed. And we got to follow up and make sure that why the bill failed, what is the aftermath, what should we do to make that build success and release the product. So agile way of software development, we discussed in our demo session. When we are working in agile, we have to adapt a mindset. What is that? Make sure software releases happen in time, ensuring quality. What should I contribute more to my team to get the job done? అంతేగాని నేను let's say pipeline set చేయడం నా job, I set it and my job is done. No, our mindset should be, what should I contribute more to make that process happen faster, right? With that mindset we have to keep exploring. So అందుకని ఇవన్నీ ఉన్నాయండి, మనకి different concepts ఉన్నాయి, right? This is not the end of our course, right? So make sure, అంటే ఏం లేదు భారంగా చెప్పారు మీరు, following Prashant అని. That's where I'm just giving you an overview. There is a lot more interesting content which we got to explore in the coming sessions. Okay, so cat light okkati chusi let's wind up for today. We'll start this Jenkins server again. Don't leave this server somewhere. Let me stop. And friends, servers kuda, once you are done with practice, stop them. Okay, if not, you may get charged heavily, right? Last month I got charged for $8. $8 and then 600 or 700.
80, 800.
Yeah. Yeah, slowly dollars కూడా సంపాదిద్దాం లేండి, don't worry. కోర్సెస్ నేర్చుకుంటుంది అందుకే, రైట్? స్లోగా ఫ్యూచర్ లో డాలర్స్ కూడా సంపాదించాలి మనం. ఇదండి వెంకట, గ్రేట్ గ్రేట్, వెరీ గుడ్. అండ్ a quick task for you friends. ఇవాళ మీ టాస్క్ ఏంటంటే, Jenkins we are running on port number 8080 కదా. I want Jenkins to run on port 7070. With Jenkins install చేసినప్పుడు port 8080 మీద రన్ అవుతుంది. How to change the port of Jenkins? Yeah, just give a try. How to change the port of Jenkins from 8080 to 7070. Yeah, ఇది ఒకటి చూడండి, సెల్ఫ్ స్టడీ అన్నమాట. Yeah, now here let's go log in my credentials. Yeah, so this is the application friends, Catlight application. It's a paid application and we got community edition too. Community edition అంటే మీకు తెలిసిందే కదా, ఇది ఫ్రీగా వాడుకోవడానికి కొన్ని ఫీచర్స్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తారు అంతే, రైట్? సో లెట్స్ గో అండ్ connect to a new server and create a dashboard. I think this is not required. Yeah, చూడండి, Catlight application too, you can you can get notifications from these different CI/CD tools: Travis CI, TeamCity, GitLab, GitHub, Jira, Jenkins, and so on. Azure pipelines and so on. Now the server of our choice is Jenkins. So let's choose Jenkins. We got to add our server URL here. Server URL ledandi, just go get this URL, public IP of Jenkins server :8080. Username, I'll add my name Prashant and Prashant. Let's click connect. Now what happens is Catlight application connects to the connects to Jenkins. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, మీకు Jenkins లో ఉన్న ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ లిస్ట్ అవుతుంది, project 1, project 2. And now anything happens on these projects, immediately you get notified. So over here you can find project 1 part 1. Likewise project 1 part 2 could add over. Where is it? Create a new dashboard. If not, dashboard to create. And project 1 part 2. Oh, wow. Okay. save. Yeah. So we got project 1 part 1 and project 1 part 2 should get added here. Okay, fine, no worries. Yeah. So now if I go build the project, sorry, if I go build the project here, what happens is manaki, I think I installed it several times and removed it. And again, it might not work for me, but what happens is, చూడండి మనకి ఫేస్బుక్ లో కానీ ఎప్పుడైనా ఏదైనా నోటిఫికేషన్ వచ్చినప్పుడు towards the right corner you get an update, right? You get a notification flash balloon లా వస్తుంది. Likewise, what say కార్పొరేట్ సెక్టర్ లో మీకు ఈమెయిల్స్ వచ్చినప్పుడు కూడా అవుట్లుక్ లో మెయిల్స్ వచ్చినప్పుడు ఇక్కడ మీకు నోటిఫికేషన్స్ వస్తాయి కదా. Likewise, if I build a project, a cat light pushes a notification here. It adds a notification here. But మనకి అంత అదృష్టం ఉంటే వస్తుంది. What's happening here? No, because I installed it several times and removed it. So it's not working on my machine. But if I go refresh this, student, see, just as in few seconds, Prashant broke the build. మనకి project fail అయిందా ఇక్కడ? Let's go refresh. Yes, the project failed. What is the reason, friends? Why the project failed? Continuous download, continuous build, continuous deployment. Deployment చేయడానికి నేను ఇక్కడ ఏం చేశానంటే సర్వర్ స్టాప్ చేసి పెట్టాను. Right? Only Jenkins is running, no QA, no production. So deployment is not happening. That's where the project failed. And now your cat light here, it gives you an overview. See, project 1 part 1 main. In a few seconds, Prashant broke the build. And shouldn't ఇక్కడ two boxes కనిపిస్తున్నాయి కదా. The first one is the build which we happened earlier. It was successful. And the second box, it's red, meaning the build, the recent build got failed. So this way, now whoever installed Catlight, everyone gets notified that Prashant broke the build. And to understand or to to check for what is the reason, I think in this application only we have collaborate is the option onto the Nikra. But it's not a free application. Let me show you. Catlight.io. We go here. It's not a free application, friends. It's a paid one. So if you go features and benefits, editions, let's find editions. So children, free, limited features, professional $4 per month. And what is the difference between free and professional? See, have a look here. Only 5 builds matra chupistundi. Community edition, not unlimited. Professional, it gives you unlimited access to, some 20 jobs and 20 jobs ki updates వస్తుంది. Everywhere, every time you get notified. Likewise, dashboards, only 2 dashboards you can create. Here, unlimited. Notifications, only for those 5 jobs you get notifications. Right? So this way we have, community edition with limited features. Whereas a professional one, we got more and more features. Right? I think మనం ఈ third party tools వాడకూడదండి. We go with the default notification channel, which is email notifications or Slack. Slack notifications వచ్చేస్తుంది direct. If you are all connected to a Slack channel, all of you get notified what's happening on a Jenkins server. Yeah. So that is all, friends. That's all for today. And we'll continue again in the session tomorrow. రేపటికి ప్రిపేర్ అయిపోండి. We got pipeline concept. We have to remember the syntax. ఈ outline గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలండి. Sorry, not this one. You got to remember this outline. ఈ అవుట్లైన్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే ఈ గ్రూవీ కోడ్ ఎట్లా జనరేట్ చేయాలన్నది I'll show you. There are shortcuts. I'll show you. Okay. Fine, friends. So online candidates, any questions? Oops. Online candidates?
No, Prashant.
ఇప్పుడు అనొచ్చు మీరు లైక్ ప్రశాంత్ యూఐ కన్నా కమాండ్ లైన్ బాగుంది కదా. Right. Fine, friends. Jokes apart. Let's continue again tomorrow. Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So practice and